Please turn to page 289 for our worksheet that has a story opening with a transition sentence. Our previous worksheet was just for a story opening. Next, we will have a transition sentence right after that story opening so that you not only are continuing your detailed instruction to write more sophisticated story openings, then you will add that transition sentence, the sentences that connect one action to the next. The reasons why the transitions are so important here and what they do for writing is they make writing cohesive and coherent. They make the sentences bridge together smoothly. They give the reader an idea of what is coming up. And in this case, this is going to be the sentence that comes right after your story opening. Let's get started with this worksheet. On page 290, we have taken the worksheet and we have formed our story opening. First thing we did was come up with our character. The second thing, our setting. And the third was the action. After that, we went back and added number 4. We added our describing words. And then number 5, we put in our punctuation. So we had all the steps that we followed in order to create a story opening here. And on this particular story, we had, on a scorching hot day, deep in the forest, a monkey saw a bunch of bananas up high in a tree. There's our sentence that we created for our story opening for narrative writing. Let's go to the next page. On page 291, we are going to walk through the steps for our action sentence, having our secret formula TC arrow, in which the children will use to form that next action sentence that smoothly transitions. The first step that we did was we said, what happened next after the monkey spotted the bananas up in the tree? That's our metacognitive question we ask to stay on topic and to sequence to the next action. What happened next? So that we're using that phrase. Then we go back to this action up here. And we say, after the monkey or while the monkey. So we're going to either use after or while to sequence to the next action. What happened next? After the monkey saw the bananas high up in the tree. Or what happened next? While the monkey saw the bananas up in the tree. I think we're going to say after he saw the bananas. What did he do next? We're going to go over to our boxes, TC arrow, and we're first going to just talk about our idea. What happened next? Oh, he went up into the tree and he ate the bananas. So we're coming up with our idea. So there's our next action. Let's go to our TC arrow and fill in the C first. Who's doing the action in this sentence? So notice, I'm asking who's doing the action. That's important because if you have more than one character, then you need to specifically identify who's doing the action so you have a powerful sentence. The monkey. Woo, woo, woo. Redundant police, redundant police. I can't keep saying monkey, monkey, monkey. Good writers don't keep saying the same important words. Monkey, monkey. What do? We could use a synonym, this silly animal. We could use a proper noun, but not, you need to use the proper noun at the beginning of the story, so we're not going to use that one. Or we could use a pronoun. I think we're going to say this monkey is a boy. What word could we use? Let's use the word he, so we write he down. He. Next, we go to our action box. Action. What did he do? We said that he climbed up the tree. Well, let's make this more powerful. Because we know that verbs are the what? Most powerful part of speech. Everyone knows that. So instead of just having one verb, he climbed up the tree, let's have 3 verbs. What actions did he take in order to get up to that tree? Let me show you a trick that I use with the kids. I tell them, let's act it out. Let's act out what he did. So the monkey first, in our first sentence, what did he do? He spotted the bananas up in the tree. What happened next after he spotted the bananas? So everyone, make your eyes look at the bananas. Now be the monkey. What did you do first? Next, I have the kids act it out. So here you are on the ground. What are you going to do? Grab onto a vine. And they swung. So he grabbed onto a vine and swung. Then what did he do? Let's see, he swung. He flipped through the air. Then he flipped through the air. And then what did he do? Then he landed on the tree. So he swung, flipped, and landed on the tree. We acted out this. Instead of just saying climbed up a tree, we wanted to give more powerful verbs and add more flair to this story. So we drew an arrow here for swung, and we write the word swung. Notice I'm going into past tense because it's a story. Then he flipped, and then finally landed. We have our powerful verbs there, and notice we have 3 verbs connected together to make that sentence much more powerful. Let's go to the next page so we can add our transitions. On page 292 is a transition chart. When you are writing stories and you're transitioning from one action to the next action, time goes by, either a very little bit of time, some time or a lot of time, or a location changes, or a character is looking in a different location, or maybe there is a sound effect, some sort of sound that occurs that can carry you from one sentence to the next. Hence, when we have our transition chart, we have sound effect words, when words, and where words. This is a chart that you can hang in your room and slowly add words to this chart as the year goes on. Where do you get these words? From stories that the children have been reading, from movie scripts that you've been presenting in your classroom. You can take those different types of transitions from those different types of texts and put them up on this chart. On page 96, in the narrative section of this manual, you will also find another transition sheet that you could display for your students that's ready-made. Regardless, you want them to have many different transitions that they can refer to with the function of the transition. That's the whole point. If students just see a bunch of transitions up on a wall, many times they don't use the correct transition. It doesn't make sense. He swung, flipped, and then landed in a tree. We had that sentence, which we could have just used that as a sentence, but we decided let's have a transition. Let's transition to this action. So we went back and said, when did he swing and flip and land into the tree? What word can we use? He was looking at the bananas, then he had that action. Wow, it was really fast. So I could say quickly, he swung, flipped, and landed into the tree. I could use quickly, I could use suddenly. He swung, flipped, then landed in the tree. Let's go over to where. Off in the distance? No. Under the tree? He swung, flipped, and landed. No, I don't really see many here that I like. Let's go over here to the sound effect. We have tippy-tap, pitter-patter, splash, sizzle, woo, crunch. No, nothing sounds good there. What sound would it be if he was swinging through the air? Oh, swish. Let's add that to our chart. This is a sound effect, and many times a sound effect is like an emphatic statement. It stands on its own. So what are we going to do? Are we going to use swish, suddenly, or quickly? The students decided on swish, so we wrote swish and we put an exclamation point and made sure we had a capital to begin our sentence after swish. Why? Because this is an emphatic statement. It stands on its own. We have our swish, he swung, flipped, then landed in a tree. Excellent. So we had our transition, we have our character, our action. We go back and we're going to add all of our punctuation. On a scorching hot day. Oh, I think I'm going to start with on, so I'm going to write on there with a capital. On a scorching hot day, deep in the jungle. That's my setting. What do I put after a setting? A comma. A monkey saw a bunch of sweet bananas up in a tree, period. Swish! Exclamation point. Why are we capitalizing this and putting an exclamation point? Emphatic statement. It can stand on its own. Everyone knows that. Capitalize he because we had our exclamation point. So what comes after any type of stop in a sentence? A new sentence with a capital. He swung, flipped, then landed in a tree. So we're going to have swung, comma, flipped, comma, then landed in a tree, period. We have all of our punctuation. We've added our describing words. We orally rehearse this. Then the students will write out the 2 sentences, and in this case, actually 3. Once they write it out, they go back when they're finished. With the red pen, they put their capitals and their commas and their periods. Swish, he, swung, comma, flip, comma, and landed on the top of the banana tree, period. Let's go back, and we can also show children at this stage if they've added any fancy words to their writing. Many times what I have them do is take out a blue pen. We then go to our written sentences and we put dots on the nouns. So I tell them, let's dot the nouns. On a muggy day. Who or what are we talking about? Day. Deep in the tropical forest. Forest. A hungry monkey. Spotted a big bunch of bananas high up in the trees. Swish. He, and we're not looking at pronouns, we're just looking at common nouns, swung, flipped, and landed on the top of the banana tree. Tree. We have our dots there. If your students at this point have difficulty finding all the nouns, you can collect their papers, dot the nouns for them, then hand them back and ask them, look at your noun. You had day there. Was day important for your reader to know? Yes, you decided that day was important up in your box. So look in front of the word day. Did you use a describing word? Yes, you did. Put a happy face there. On a muggy day, go to your next dot, forest. We had forest up here. Did we decide? Yes, we had thick, deep. We decided that we wanted to have describing words to describe forest. Oh, look at this. We said tropical forest, deep in the tropical forest. Hungry monkey. There's monkey. Was monkey important? Yes. We put hungry, so we're going to have a happy face there. Spotted a big bunch of sweet bananas. Were bananas important to describe? Yes. Sweet. A big bunch. Ooh, this is good. High up in the trees. Swish. He swung, flipped, and landed on the top of the banana tree. Did we say tree was important? Did we dot that? Yes. What kind of tree? Banana tree. So we put happy faces on all of our describing words, showing that we included those when we wrote this out. At this point, when the students are writing, we're not only teaching them SERO, TCRO, how to craft a more dynamic and interesting story opening, as well as a transition sentence that leads us to the next actions, but we're also, when we're finishing, going back and checking for our capitalization, our punctuation, as well as descriptive language. Are we adding descriptive language to our writing? And we're using dot the nouns in order to do that. Notice how we are taking this sentences writing activity and we're kicking it up a notch so that not only can they connect these sentences to their own stories, we're also teaching techniques in order to revise and edit their sentences as well. Try this worksheet for story openings and transitions. Use it with your whole class in small groups, and ultimately for your students to independently use this worksheet to create their sentences at the beginning of a story. Good luck, and I hope you enjoy it.